Hi everyone, it's Kelly Cameron, and I wanted to share a little bit about part of my, I suppose if you want to call it that, an inner transformation over the last few weeks. Um, I have been a little quiet on social media. I've been very busy teaching courses, but I've also been recovering from a couple of things. One of them was food poisoning, and it happened during the weekend when I was teaching a course, so that wasn't as pleasant of a time as I would have liked it to be. And once I got over that, I had a repetitive shoulder injury that has come back and has been bothering me a little bit. And what those two things have brought up for me is a lot of irritation. And I realized that, I was irritated because my body wasn't functioning the way that I wanted it to. In the instance of the course I was teaching, I wasn't able to teach the way that I would have wanted to, but the participants were great. Everything worked out. I communicated what I needed, and it was fine in the end. And then with my shoulder, and then I spent a few days actually sleeping a lot and just recovering and doing some studying and reading and stuff. And then my shoulder was bothering me, which actually makes it really difficult to do even little menial tasks like a lot of cutting, or if I'm doing any peeling, painting. I'm right-handed, so it's my right shoulder. And I realized that probably when I first had the injury a couple of years ago, I didn't quite let it heal properly. So I've had a lot of irritation come up, and I've also had to be able to sit with that irritation and realize that anger for me in my life has been a kind of motivation to do things, and that I've held a lot of anger inside. And I've never been really the kind of person who ever wanted to project being angry out into the world. When I was younger, I was around a lot of people who did project it out. And the way I would describe that now as an adult is when people are projecting their anger, it's like they want someone else to be responsible for their pain because they're angry that they have this pain. And we sometimes people will spew it out. I know I've done it on occasion, even though my tendency is to stuff it down inside so that I don't really have to feel it. So the last few weeks, as I've been sort of processing through these physical ailments that my body's had, I've also been emotionally processing through a lot of anger that I've held on to, and realizing a few things. That anger, number one, covered up a lot of fear. That if I held on to being angry about something, I didn't have to feel how afraid I was to do something or confront somebody, or I didn't have to admit that I couldn't do it, or, any number of things. And so I had all these little, when I sort of stripped all the anger away, I went, oh, there's a lot of fear behind being angry and not being able to optimally function. For those of you that have read my articles, and have watched some of my other videos, you know that I'm very open about talking about the issues that I had with anxiety and postpartum depression. So I do talk about that openly, and so I'm talking about anger and how anger covered up a lot of fear for me. That's the first thing. And the second thing is I realized that I've used anger most of my life as a motivator to do anything. If I felt in the least bit afraid to do something, I'd feel angry that I was afraid. And I would motivate myself to push through and to do that project that I was afraid to do that oral presentation that I had to do, take a course, learn how to write, do whatever. If somebody told me I couldn't do something, I'd be angry because I'd feel afraid, and then I'd be like, oh, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove that I can do it. And realizing that how I've projected that onto myself, this has been a real lesson, a lot of lessons in the last few weeks, to realize those two things about being angry. And when I let go, like energetically and emotionally, of being angry, I realized that I felt like I have not been motivated. And I sat down with my oldest son, and I actually told him, I said, I feel a little lost because my old motivation's gone. I'm not angry. I feel like, why? I need to find a new reason to do these things and stuff. And he said a couple of really smart things to me. I mean, he's a smart guy, And one of them that he said was, well, that's your ego, mom, telling you that you're lost. You're not lost. You're just trying to find a new way of doing things. And I get a little choked up and teary-eyed because it's true. When you're letting go of old behavior patterns and you haven't really replaced it with a new one yet, you do feel kind of lost because you're not sure now how do you proceed with something? How do you proceed from a more loving, joyful way when you've used more sort of negative emotions? Which is what we would call them, to motivate yourself to do things. So that was the first one. And the second thing he said is like, you're also recovering, mom. You're recovering from, not being sick, and you're recovering, with the shoulder thing. And he says, like, just give yourself some time. And it's true. And so I have been really trying to give myself the time to recover, do the exercise I'm supposed to do everything that, my the healthcare practitioners that I'm seeing for that are telling me to do, so that I can make it better. And so I've been trying to really breathe through and work on the irritation, because even, typing at the computer, to become aware of even small finger movements and how you can feel it moving within the tendons in the joint in your shoulder, it has been quite an experience to be that sensitive to my body, to feel that, and to know that, yeah, it's really tiny things, and I have to rest, and I have to take breaks at the computer, so I can't write as long as I want to. In fact, I haven't written anything in a while. I wrote something this week, which was great. But even at work, when I go to my other day job, being on the computer for long periods of time, I have to stop because my shoulder will ache. So it's those little things, and that every time I feel the irritation is to remind myself to breathe, focus on myself, and just know that, this state is temporary. However I'm feeling right now, it's not going to stay. It is going to move, but I have to allow it to move and not hold on to being angry or irritated that this is where I am right now. And no, my body is not functioning as optimally as I would like it to be, which can be frustrating for someone like me who loves martial arts, who's been a gymnast and a coach for such a long time, who also has to go away this coming weekend to teach a course. It's not ideal, but it's learning how to deal with the not ideal, and doing that in a really positive way by being honest and loving with myself and communicating what I need to other people. So I hope that something that I said in the video might resonate with you. Please ask questions, leave comments if you've had similar experiences or you have questions about my experiences. I'm always happy to share, and I hope that everyone has a great day.